Let's get a sound check here. Yeah, you guys should be able to hear me. Looks good. You guys can see Ranger downstairs, so that's good. We're not working too hard today, but I did just finish. I'm 1 year down on my doctorate now, so I just checked one of my classes. I called the wife and I was a little worried. For being honest, I was a little worried on this class because the teacher had dinged me pretty hard there's 3 major projects in the course and then there's a bunch of discussions, and she had dinged me pretty hard on the first couple. So I was like, man, I need the last one to be good. But I was like, I could possibly drop to like a low B or a C, which by the way doesn't really matter to me that much because I'm paying for my doctorate myself. So I don't give a shit. I'm not beholden to anybody like from a paying it back standpoint, right? I'm paying for it myself. So but I mean, I want to learn the stuff, and I'm keeping like a low A, high B average, which would have killed me in my undergrad. In my undergrad, I had straight A's, but it's because I cared a lot, right? Now I don't care nearly as much. I just want to learn the stuff and absorb it. Well, anyways, I checked my final project that I was worried about slipping my grade, and I had a 96, like 95.77, so basically a 96 on it. So that's going to carry me to a pretty solid low A. So that makes me feel pretty good. So I called the wife up and told her. And one of my buddies who's working, I had mentioned him last night on a stream. One of my buddies, Ben, he's a economics professor at UC Irvine, and he wants to. He's like, yeah, we should collaborate and write a couple papers. And I was like, all right, whatever, let's do it. So he and I might put some stuff together. That'd be good. Do a little collab work. But yeah. Doctorate's officially 1 year down now. I only have a couple more years of, I guess, what you would call schooling, and most of it's also writing the dissertation. Oh. Lots of stuff to do. Sorry, I'm munching on some Cheez-Its while I'm talking to you guys. I'll check on these Linux boxes real quick here. Let's check on these guys real quick. Make sure they're all up. Everything's working in the environment good. Their uptime should all be about the same. Okay. I have to write. So I could use the werewolf server here to do some of the checks that I want to write, but I need to write some stuff for these nodes around just gathering. So check this out. You guys can see my monitoring screen here. If we go to logs here, we also have the capability not just watching secure, but also like, so here's streamer 1. Here's all the time that somebody's connected into the streamer 1 server into any of my systems, and it looks like we've had accepted passwords, but these are all internal machines coming in. Let's see, is there also, let's see over here. Yeah, streamer 1's getting passed through. That is interesting. Well, that's fine. But anyways, the point is we can see streamer 1 trying to come in and connect to our different systems right in the environment. So we've got some let me go to multi-stream just so I don't miss any chats from the YouTube side of things. So yeah, if anybody has anything for me or wants to talk about anything, let me know. Otherwise, we're just kind of hanging out like we were earlier. I am just keeping an eye on the environment and how Rocky is working and making sure that the systems are running. And then I'm just kind of working on one of my other screens. I went and voted, so voting's out of the way. That's good. That was relatively painless. The one thing that was, I mean, I guess annoying about Arizona is in Maricopa County specifically, we had something like it was 4 pages front and back of stuff to fill out. So you had to vote for all the judges and vote for your school district, and then you had to vote for a whole bunch of. There was multiple propositions and amendments to the state constitution, and there's just a lot of stuff to vote for. So it was a lot to fill out and kind of keep track of and stuff. And yeah, and then I talked to the wife right now. Her and the person that works with her at the help desk, her friend Heidi, they were going to vote too. So I guess they're doing that over lunch. So, but yeah, other than that, I'm just kind of hanging out, keeping the project windows open so you guys can kind of see what's going on in the environment. We're not working too hard. If any of you guys want to talk about the professional Linux users group or our Discord in general, or you guys want to know anything about kind of what we do around here, let me know. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people down there studying now. So if you were part of our Discord and you wanted to go study, you could. There's people down there working on stuff and presumably getting better at Linux and understanding these topics better so that they can position themselves better to go do work and, feed themselves and their family and put roofs over their heads and stuff. And that's the important thing is like that. This is a good vehicle for getting into engineering and getting into systems work and then being able to get yourself to, I hate to sound cheesy about it, but it's almost like a Knight's Tale. Like you get to kind of change your stars. It's more of a changing the trajectory of maybe where your career was going to go. My good buddy Jared, who's come and talked to our group many times, and look at Ranger back there. Anyways, Jared's came and talked to our group many times, and he says like, hey, he thought he was never going to make more than like $40K a year, and then he just goes and gets into he does data analytics, and he makes probably about $200K a year right now, so he does really well. Daniel Garcia on the YouTube. Can I get a little context on what I'm working on infrastructure? We're doing so in my co-working streams. I don't really work too much, but yeah, I do a lot of infrastructure stuff. I'm typically called a Linux engineer or a platform engineer, depending on where I'm at. And most of the time I work in the high performance compute space. So sometimes I get called a high performance compute engineer too, I guess. I specialize in Linux systems and networking. I work on all types of Linux systems, but mostly RHEL and SLES and a little bit of Ubuntu. SLES, S-L-E-S. Anyways. SLES, yeah, which is SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, right? And then my closed captioning doesn't always know what's going on, so that's kind of funny. Yeah, and then what you're seeing up there on the left is just a Rocky cluster that I've built in the home lab, and those are people can hop into those servers and do lab work, and then when they leave, it just wipes the server. And then the kind of little screen next to my Penguin there is just spinning through some stuff that we've been working on the last few days. We were building out some Docker images and kind of building stuff in the home lab so that we could get up a basic little website for back-ending some of our prolug.org stuff, right? And that's prolug, L-U-G. Yeah, there you go. That's still not right, but so anyways, that's what I do, mostly infrastructure stuff. And then the goal of this group and the goal of me getting online is to tell you guys that, we've got a group out there of people that want to help you go from being an amateur. If you're an amateur doing this stuff and want to do it professionally, we can help you kind of figure out how to navigate that and get into that space. That's what we do in our Discord. We have 31, almost 3,200 people in there now. So that's blown up this year. I remember we were just trying to get to 1,000 people in March. We hit 1,000 people like right at the end of March, and then at the end of April we kind of blew up a little bit. And now we're at a pretty good amount of people. So yeah, it's all free. Everything's free. The only thing that costs anything is if you go over to LeanPub and buy my book, but nobody has to do that. That's just something that people can do if they want to. And I always tell people, well before you get into buying any of that stuff, go and see if this stuff is See if this stuff is fun for you. See if this is interesting before you go spending any money. And then if you do like that, then you can buy that stuff. So I tell you guys that stuff all the time. Con, I'd say most of the stuff I try to show is beginner stuff. What might be better for me to say is I do simple stuff and I try to show you guys how to do simple stuff well. And then simple stuff well is what ends up being professional. People sometimes think like professionals are doing some abstract hard thing that nobody could understand, and that's not true. The best engineers I know, the absolute best engineers I know, do simple things well. They don't have to do super complex abstract things. They know a few things and they do them very well, and that actually makes them look like rock stars. Every time you go to a new project and you solve these simple problems, people think you're a rock star all over again. You're like, really? All I'm doing is solving the same thing that I did somewhere else and keep reading my notes. But there's that. So yeah, I'm doing that. I'm working on my other screens. I was telling you guys earlier, or as I first came on, I was telling you guys I just got some feedback. I got a 96 on my final project for one of my doctorate classes, so that feels pretty good. Brings me up to, I'm at like a low A, high B. That's probably where I'll end the class out, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not really trying to be, I've been telling the wife I'm like the most B average student ever now. When I was younger, I was an A average student, but I don't care anymore. I just want to finish the degree, finish the dissertation process, and have my doctorate. Then everybody can call me Dr. Scott. I'm just kidding. Scott's my first name, not my last name. So I wouldn't be Dr. Scott. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing. In the other window, I did all my grading, so my grading's all done. Oh, I got to send a paper. I got to send a project to my students. So I got to do that real quick. Hold on. That's always fun. Send my students an update. Make sure they know that they can do their work. And IT in general would be way smoother if everyone do simple things well enough. True. Yeah, Liquid Warden. Yeah, if people would do that, if people would maybe document things. Everybody's got different ideas of how documentation should be done, and not everybody does documentation. So trying to get everybody to do documentation is a big deal, I think. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff I try to show you guys is just simple things like take notes and then make things better and focus on what adds value to your business, because that's what's going to look well for you in your year-end reviews, right? Because that's what individual contributors have. We have year-end reviews to see how well we contributed to the company. And a lot of times the company, like your manager forgets what you do. Your manager only cares that you can do the next good thing for them, right? So like you got to remember like end of year reviews and stuff, that's for you. You need to keep track of that stuff. Could I recommend any course that I can start from scratch? Yeah, Con, let me show you this. If you were to, let me turn on Discord here real quick. Hold on. And then let me pull this up. Oh, I think I gotta reattach it. Give me 1 second here. Let me then undo and redo it. Done. I don't know why. I think it's because, hold on, I think I have this in the wrong mode. Put it right there, and then disable that mode so we can see it. And then I think, give me 1 more second. All right. Anyways, so let me show you guys here in the Discord. The question was, how do we find, like, where would we start from scratch? And this is what I would tell you to do. Like, if you say, hey, Scott, I want to start. I don't know any Linux. I don't know any system stuff, but I want to find something that's interesting. And hey, Warren Henry, how's it going? I am just not working too hard, kind of hanging out. And Con, you asked any project or anything that you would start from scratch. I would tell you, if you were in our Discord, go to Beginner Start Here. It's a page. It's its own little section. And I've got a bunch of basics of Linux, so you can do some Linux hands-on. And then there's some certs here that you can get that are not directly Linux related, but they are engineering type certs. So you can go find out some stuff about maybe systems engineering or things that are interesting to you that you want to do. And then down here, we have a Linux systems administration course that you can get involved in. So that's where I would start if I didn't know anything about systems world, right? I would start at the beginner, start here, and then I could go in here. If you were like, hey, I do a little bit, but I just want to get better at Linux, I would go maybe into our Killer Coda labs and go look at the labs that people have been putting together. I have a bunch of labs up there. Fisherman has some labs. I think one other person has labs. But what will happen is you will see, if you can even go back through and look at some of the different labs that people have built. One of our guys built a Killer Coda Splunk lab, and they wanted to teach people how to use Splunk, right? And then, if this stuff interests you, then you start digging in further and further. There's people down there doing study groups right now, so you can go in and you can study if you wanted to. And that's just people hanging out and doing, Linux type things for systems, right? So let me get rid of that. That's my answer to what I would do to start now if I was kind of trying to start. Is I would get in there and I would just start finding. And then I tell you guys the same thing. Like, if we're not the ones, if we don't have good stuff for you, right? If you look at all of our stuff and go, I don't love any of this. Well, then, there's a lot of stuff. Find somewhere. If we can't help you, find somewhere that can help you to get some traction and get into the systems engineering world. Or maybe you look at all this stuff and you're like, this is all stupid. I just want to do Scrum. I want to be a Scrum master. There's nothing wrong with being a Scrum master or a project manager or a project engineer. You can, and maybe you don't want to be tied to technology. You want to do something that's building up projects and working for the business, but not directly technology related. You want to be like technology adjacent, and there are a lot of things in that. One of our guys, actually, a guy came and talked to us a month and a half ago. My buddy Ash Davis, and he's from he works for Red Hat. He's been a Red Hatter for I think almost 10 years now, and he's been in open source for like 15 or 16 years. He's been around, and he did all engineering for a long time. And then he found out like his love really is in like pre-sales engineering. And I had never even heard of pre-sales engineering until I heard him describe it. And he came and talked to the group one time, and I get him to come back and talk to you guys again if any of you are interested. If you say, hey, that sounds interesting, I want to learn some pre-sales engineering, he'll come back and talk to you guys about like what does it mean to like what is a pre-sales engineer job? How do you get into that role? He actually mentors people to get into that role. I think he started a thing on him and some of his colleagues started a thing called Pre-Sales Academy, and they actually teach you guys and train you into those roles because not everybody wants to do all engineering. Pre-sales engineering is its own thing. You have to know a lot, but then you get to just build new stuff, and then you go somewhere else. You never have to support anything ever again. You just build it new and right, hopefully, and then you never support it ever again. And that's where some people find their passion, right? So, anyways, that's something to think about. I got to send some inspires. Inspires are things that basically tell all my students to get to work. So I got to pull that up. Oh, Rob's back. How's it going, Rob, with the raid? Hopefully this stuff's useful to you guys. We are not working too hard, as you can see by my little penguin up there. Yeah, Rob, thanks for trusting your community over here with me. We got a raid over on the Twitch side, so that's what we're doing. We're not working too hard, though. We're just kind of looking for people that are wondering what's going on my screen. On the top left is just us watching a werewolf cluster. Werewolf is a tool that allows us to build out clusters and use container images to then deploy stateless nodes. That's all it is. So we got 19 stateless nodes up there kicking it and being lab devices for people. On the top right is just notes. I was just writing notes when I was messing around earlier about stuff that we were doing and stuff that I was hoping to get done today while I'm kind of co-working and doing other stuff. And then the thing that is not spinning right now but should be is my like monitoring, and then also some stuff that I was looking at in my GitHub and other stuff like that. So you guys are welcome to go there. Let's give a shout out to Rob real quick. I think I gotta go over to the Twitch side to do that. There we go. So yeah, if you guys want to follow Rob. If you were already over here and don't follow Rob, you probably should. He does quite a bit of good Linux fundamentals and also a lot more programming than I do. So he's a programmer. He does that stuff professionally, and he has a lot of good ideas and kind of knowledge for you guys over there. So yeah, feel free to hang out with him, you know, if you get a chance. We raided over to Rob earlier, and he raided back to us, so that's actually pretty cool too. And Crollo, hopefully this stuff's useful to you. Thanks for the follow. You guys can see Ranger is not super impressed with us. That's what Ranger's little GIF there, or GIF, whatever you want to call it, guys. I don't care what you call it. GIF or GIF. What does the closed captioning think? Ha! GIF or GIF. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. It's taking them both. Oh, yeah. Thanks for the follows, guys. Hopefully this stuff's good. How does one compare different virtualization tools? You mentioned Werewolf. I know Incus, Kubernetes, Minic. How would you compare these? So, chat, what I would do is I would take what my use case is and what I need, and then I would work back from there if it were me. Only lizard people say GIF. Fair enough. Yeah. I've always called it GIF as well, but it's kind of funny. The rest of us will be drug away because we can't say the word. If you guys have seen the little comic. Oh, but anyway, so how would I pick virtualization? So in my home lab, I actually use a tool called XCP. Oh, you can't see my screen. Hold on. I forget sometimes that I'm not sharing my whole screen. Let's see if I can pull up. I need to make an XCPNG real quick, so hold on real quick. Screen capture, add source. I think I have this one right here. Yeah, it's just drop that guy right here in the middle of everything so you guys can see him. Put him like that so he's not in the way. Put him behind the Twitch alert. Oops. Man, they make this thing annoying to do. Hold on. All right, there we go. All right, so this is my XCPNG, and in here I have like 3 physical machines, and then I just run virtualization on top of them. And then what you can do inside that virtualization is if I have Kubernetes-like workloads, I can stand up Kubernetes in some of my virtualized spaces if I needed to, right? So Kubernetes is a further, like if you want to think of it as like a deeper set of virtualization that works on top of containerization that works on top of what you could virtualize. So what I mean by that is in my environment here, actually, where do I have it? I actually am running virtualization here. So here's my prod Kubernetes clusters. And then if I were to move this down out of the way, so let me make that thing invisible for a second, we could jump over into my cluster here. And I can jump right up into, oh shoot, where was I? Right here. Jump up to me, clear, kubectl get pods, kubectl get nodes, right? I can see my nodes that are there. Kubectl get ns, and we were building out some app and data tooling yesterday, so get pods -n app. We haven't built any out there yet, but in data we have. And then we've got a MySQL database out there running, and it's back-ended. Let's just get all in end data. And we've got a replica set, a deployment. We've got a service that's acting as the front end to it. And the MySQL service really just acts as a front end that feeds any data that comes into it back to that pod right here. And we can actually describe that service if we want, right? And anyway, so a lot to say. All that to say, and then that points back to the pod if we want to see it. But my point is, all that to say that it really depends on the workload. I can use Werewolf over physical machines, and I can use Werewolf over virtual machines, and it wouldn't functionally change what I was doing with it. However, in the virtual space, my machines would obviously be slower than if I had like InfiniBand cards and some other stuff. but that doesn't mean that I couldn't use the virtual space to do testing of like the types of maybe workflows and workloads that I wanted to do, right? So there's that kind of stuff. Daniel Garcia, do you like K9s? I don't know if I've ever played with K9s. I've played with K8s. I don't know if I've ever used K9s. I might have heard of it, but and then let's see. Dit Setpoo over on YouTube. Wish I knew all this. Yeah, all you gotta do is start spending time with it. I don't know what it did with your name there, but yeah, you all you gotta do is start working on this stuff, right? Just find a group, find a community that'll help you start to learn it. We've got one that I think is pretty good, but it's not for everybody, right? And get in there. Oh, it's a UI for Kubernetes. I haven't played with it at all then. No, I have not played with K9s. I mean, I guess I've played with dogs that are K9s, but I have not played with a UI for Kubernetes, no. So, I got another grade. Let's go see how my other grade is. Probably, hopefully it's okay still. How's that grade doing? That's okay. Oh yeah, I said that wrong. That's fair. This teacher was real hard. Like, she really dinged me a lot, but I also think that was good because it kept me from being lazy. She kept me on my toes when, like, I would say my methodology wrong for, like I know that my methodology for my dissertation is a quantitative, and then inside of that I'm using like an ex post facto design, and I think one time I called it an ex post facto methodology, and she just dinged me points. And she's right. I mean, pedantry doesn't necessarily need to be there anywhere else in the world, but it definitely needs to be there in the academic world. So I missed my attention to detail, and she dinged me on it, and I deserved it. So that's actually a good catch on her part. However, there's nothing in the class that can really knock me down right now out of my like high B. So I feel pretty good about that. I'll stay at my high B and just kind of coast through this class. My next class, by the way, this class was the second of two foundations of research design, which I feel like I understand that concept well, which is the goal. And then my next class, which is Res 815, is actually called, let's see what this class is called. I'm pretty sure this is Economics for Business Decisions, which will just be statistics and reading economic stuff. So that should be kind of good. And then I got my residency dissertation coming up in the end of November here. I have my first residency course that ends out my first year, and then I go. Oh, it looks like they start me in a second class. So this is wild. It looks like they're starting me in two classes at the same time. So that's going to be harsh. Analytic Foundations for Business Leaders. It's going to be a lot of paper writing, man. Shit, I'm going to be. Oh, geez. And then starting in February, I'll be in predictive modeling. So just more basic stats and maybe some basic calc stuff. And then I go back into designing a quantitative study, and that'll just be more research stuff. And that comes around the January, February, March, April-ish of the year, next year or so. So, yeah, interesting. Enterprise data should be good because I already work with a lot of enterprise data. Dissertation 1, so I'll be doing more dissertation stuff. Yep, I will be busy all the way through. End of 2026, I'm gonna be busy. So, all right. So enough of looking at that. Let's go check my NOAA email, see what kind of stuff is going on. That's National Oceanographic Atmospheric Agency stuff. See if I get anything useful over there. Probably not. Mostly I just get like corporate spam. Nobody's really ever messaging me for anything on that project. I don't do too much on that project right now, but sometimes I find something interesting. So yeah, nothing going on there. Thanks for the follow, KC8TQV. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We are again not working too hard, just kind of hanging out and checking on everything. All right. Yeah, we're at like 3,100 people. That's pretty wild. Daniel Garcia, I sometimes do consulting, but most of the time I just try to do stuff here. So I have a pretty much standing thing. If people have something that I can do in front of people, or that I could do like in our Linux group and can show to other people, I never charge anything. Like as long as I can do it in front of others and use it as like training for them, I try to take my limited time and do that stuff for free, right? If I have to do something that's proprietary or I have to work on the side, I do that. Yeah, but that tends to be so. A lot of times I work through my company Redline. That's the company that I work for, and I'll do. I'm basically they use me to basically consult with a bunch of different companies, anyways. So I do kind of offer consulting in that sense, anyways. But I do that professionally through my company Redline. So not my company, but the company I work for. Okay, I got to send some notes to my students, so I'm gonna pull up I have some student notes. Where's that at? I'm looking through my Notepad++. Student emails. I got to go to week 2. I have generic emails that I send my students for letting them know to get on track. And I'm going to add this right here. That we're in Unit 2. All right. So this one says, Dear student, first name, we're in Unit 2. If you're on track and getting in the shell with no problems, keep it up. If you haven't gotten in the shell, I'm going to call that course shell. Course shell. No problems, keep it up. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. Now I got to send this to a bunch of my students. But yeah, I do. I mean, with the limited time I have around streaming and working and teaching, I try to help people out where I can. So this is Network 191. Let's go check out my students. And my message says, Dear student, first name. That's a variable. We're in Unit 2. If you're on track and getting in the course shell with no problems, keep it up. If you haven't gotten the course shell, there's time. Get in there. Let me know if you have any questions. All right. So I'll send that email. And then I'll go grab this one. And let them know that that's my outreach. So basically, as a college professor, I have to outreach to my students a few times, especially at the beginning of the course. So I'm sending an outreach to all my students to say, hey, I'm here. You can reach out to me if you need. So I'm going to say informational and motivational, and then technology and live lessons are my things. And then I put in just letting the students know that we're in Unit 2, where the recordings are, and to reach out with questions. Right? So I kind of give them this generic. And it's actually funny. I've had students tell me later, they're like, oh, I really liked how much you like kind of took an interest. And I'm like, well, really all I was doing was just sending you guys updates, as a group. And then I guess it kind of looks like I'm talking directly to each of them, but really all I'm doing is saying, hey, stay motivated, keep going. And sometimes people just need that, sometimes people just need an extra little push. And that's one of the reasons I like the guys are in there studying right now. Let me go look in Discord again. Yep, they're still down there studying. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them down there. So if you guys hop in the Discord and go jump down in the voice channel and want to watch, they're actually studying. It looks like they're studying or taking notes right now. So you guys can actually go work and talk with those guys right now if you wanted to. Right? There's nothing to be intimidated about. They're pretty friendly, and they'll let you hang out with them. Right? That's the point of these type of groups. All right, I'm going to email this other list of students. Say we're in Unit 2. If you're on track, keep going. If not, let me know. Good. And then I'll go grab my little update. So that's where we're at. Not working too hard today. I was hoping to. One of our other guys I like to raid out to Fisherman when I get a chance. He's actually the one that made me this little AI guy. And then we I like to. He also does a lot of sitting around and working on stuff. So let's see, technology, live lessons, and then just letting them know that we're in Unit 2. All right. So now my students have all been reached out to, so that's good. What are my schedule for streaming? Daniel, I try to stream at night, my time, so in a few hours here. But I've been doing a little bit of these co-working things where I just kind of hang out and talk with you guys while I do other things. So I'm technically working on another screen right now, and then I just kind of hang out. Typically when I'm on at night, like I was on last night, then I will be showing you guys system stuff and working through some of this stuff more. But let's put that there. Normally then, and then Sunday mornings we do a recording for our last unit. So we're in Unit 8 this week, and next week we'll do Unit 9 of our Linux Systems Administration course. So there's we have a course that's free down in our Discord where we're just going through and learning how to be systems administrators in Linux and how to get the job in that space, help people get ready and do that stuff. So that one I record on Sunday mornings. So I'll be recording Unit 9 coming up here. So that's where we're at with that. Those should all be good. Okay, let me go check my my other thing over here. There's my emails. Boom. And then Dr. Mac. All right. So yeah, I try to keep a schedule of streaming, but I do sometimes just go off the cuff and just hang out or do whatever I'm doing. Just depends. Depends on kind of what's going on. Oh, what's going on back there? Hold on. It looks like I got a stream with nothing going on. Hold on. One of these doesn't have anything going on. There's Ranger. There's my dog Ranger. Linux. This is actually not Linux. This is Kubernetes. And then we can get rid of those. We were just looking up some versions of things last night. This, if you guys have never seen this, we were using Excalidraw to auto-generate some explanations for us that we thought were interesting. And Excalidraw has an AI feature, and I have 2 requests left today to build. So I'm going to generate another one real quick just for fun. And it'll generate these little drawings for me, and then I can insert them and go, okay, that's not exactly what I wanted, but it's a cool little visualization of maybe how overlay configurations work for boot configuration, system overlays, default profile is system overlay. Yeah, so there's a bunch of interesting things here. And maybe I say I don't like the way that looks. Maybe I move this over here, right? And I maybe twist that down a little. Make this go a different way just for fun. You know, maybe I don't like the way that kind of connected or worked out or whatever. And I go, okay, this might look a little cooler like this, right? And then go there. So. And Slex One, yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I try to have some stuff that's useful for you guys. If you've never used Excalidraw, that's a free tool. Excalidraw is a completely free tool. You can go hang out on there. It's also open source, so you can run your own version internally. You can go to the GitHub and pull down Excalidraw and run it in Kubernetes or run it on your own Linux boxes if you wanted. And just, you can draw things. You can also use VS Code. I don't have it set for you guys to see it, but I have a VS Code that has it in there as well. Actually, you know what? I might be able to just link that up. Hold on. Man, I'm definitely on the wrong one here, but I'll just make a new one real quick. Screen capture, get my VS Code here. Add that source, and then this is what it looks like in my VS Code right here for you guys. Let me move that up a little bit so it's not over my text to speech. Yeah. Anyways, that's what it looks like in my VS Code when I like look at my, oops, let's redo that. Then that's how it looks inside of my VS Code. So we talk about like how we set things up. Yeah, Slex One. We also have a Discord. You can go hang out. I think it's in the description on the YouTube side, and the Discord has a bunch of more persistence to it. Like here, we're just kind of hanging out, and I'm talking about stuff and working on other stuff. But you could also be hanging out in the Discord and talking. There's people actually studying in the Discord right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them hanging out down there. One of them's presenting, and it looks like he's doing some kind of system stuff. I can't see exactly what he's got open, but it might be like some kind of virtual terminal or something. So, yeah, they're down there working through the projects and stuff for the course. So you can go look at that if that's interesting to you. All right, let's get rid of this VS Code for now. Transition back, and then yeah, I'm not working too hard on anything, but I am kind of keeping track of this screen while I'm doing other stuff. Yeah, you're welcome to hang out down there, look around. The bot will talk trash to you if you ask it stuff. That's part of the fun. Fisherman runs the bot, so if you ever have any problems with the bot, you talk to Fisherman Guybro about it. He's also a streamer that kind of hangs out on there. Also, we have an event coming up every Saturday, so you guys can, those are free. You can sign up for those if you want. They never cost anything. You just go hang out with everybody and do Linux, right? Talk about Linux systems administration stuff. So, all right. Talked about a lot of that stuff. Let me pull up. I got to check some work stuff real quick. See how my emails are going. I got to send an email to somebody. I got to send an email over to actually one of my old bosses. So, got to say hi. I gotta look up something real quick because I don't know how to spell it. It's Red Hat IDM. I don't know how they do their upper and lower cases on it. Oh, IDM, that's what it is. ID, so capital I, lowercase DM, that's what it is. That's what I needed to check was. Red Hat shop. Yeah. So look, if you guys have never used IDM, what it allows you to do, it's an identity management tool, and it provides centralized and unified ways to manage identity stores, authentication policies, and authorization policies in a Linux-based domain. So what you can do is you can jump into, or you can use that to connect up to LDAP, and then that can be the persistent place that all of your Red Hat kind of connects back into. So that's something to think about. Let me hold on real quick. Let me send that email. Needs help with LDAP. Let me know if you want to schedule some time so we can talk about. Yeah, so that's actually almost going to be like a little consulting gig with my old group, if you want to think of it like that. What version am I on? So over here, the question was what version of Linux am I on? Let me get that spinning again. Over here, I am running Rocky 9.4, and all of my servers inside of there that are actually checking in with Werewolf are also 9.4. So that's all that. If I were to cat Etsy splat release, these are all there. And then if I were to come over here, looks like it kicked me out. This box, which is needs to badly be rebuilt, is he's a CentOS 7.9 box, so he's very old. And then in my environment, I just have a fair amount of just a fair amount of extra stuff going on. Let me pull up my XCPNG. Where's it at? Hold on. Transition that over so you guys can see. I have a fair amount of, like, this is also a CentOS box. These are Ubuntu boxes, so I have Ubuntu in the lab. These are Rocky 9 boxes here. I think I have, those are all, these are Ubuntu up here, and these are Rocky 9. And then down here we do have an OpenSUSE 15, so I was working on some SLES projects, so I had that up. And all of these are whatever other types of things they have. Now, I've also built inside of my servers, so let's just go to a node, pretend that we were going to go to the console and add to it. I have built all of these other distros here in my environment. So I've got some Ubuntu stuff. I've got some, I don't even know what that sneg was. Oh, I was doing a PBX, so I was running an internal phone system. So I was showing you guys how a private branch exchange works if you've never set up a PBX. That's actually surprisingly, almost shockingly easy to do if you want to do your own encrypted phone calls between people. It's not hard to do. You just run a PBX internally, and then you have soft phones, and you just set up your SIP, right? Session Initiation Protocol. And SIP has a ability to be almost like a DNS. It can kind of look like a DNS. I have some Rocky that we've run locally. I have some pfSense. That was, I think that's a CentOS under the hood. Open NixOS. People wanted me to run NixOS, so I did for a little while. Kubuntu, a bunch of Kali. People have asked for Kali over the years, and I'll build it for them. Let them have access to it in the lab or whatever. And then typically we have a lab that we can attack in the environment if we want to. That's these, the red and the blue nodes are there for us to just beat up. We beat those poor nodes like they owe us money. So it's not good what we do to these nodes, but we do it right in the interest of getting better at some of this stuff. So anyways, the answer to what I use in the distros is I use a lot of different distros depending on what we're doing. I am very much distro agnostic, but you will also find that I am very much like lazy. If I have something that works, I will stick with it. I'll just be like, this is pretty good. And then I'll be on CentOS 7 forever like I am on this box. This poor box needs to be updated. I need to make P01 Jumbo 2 and then put them in place as the new version of this box. I'll probably do that in Rocky Linux one of these days, and then I'll slide them in place over that poor server, man. It's gotten the worst of everything over the years. He gets attacked all the time. He sits out there. People only have there's two ways to access our cluster. For the Professional Linux Users Group Linux Systems Administration course, I mostly have you guys just use these Rocky Labs. Yeah, so the Rocky Labs out here, those 19 devices are there for you to do everything you want. Hot Rod Chevy, I mean, are you asking the one that I'm in right here? Like that I'm presenting and stuff? I don't know, like Windows 10? Windows 10 or something like that? I don't know. I think it keeps trying to get me to go to 11, but it's just 10. So when you're looking at the Rocky stuff, right, there's another way into our home cluster here. So let me pull that up real quick here. So I come over here and we go to Guacamole, and I've got a Guacamole connection here. If you guys have never seen this is through Apache as well. Daniel, let me answer that question because this is a question a lot of people seem to want to know the answer to. So let me pull up Discord real quick. Hold on. Yep. And let me get rid of that real quick. So hold on, and we'll go here. If you wanted to join, the course, if that was something that was of interest to you, you would go to our Discord, which is free, right? Discord never costs nothing. Come down here to the beginner start here, and you would go to the very bottom of it, which is the playlist for the Linux Systems Administration course. If you clicked on this, you would have, and it's behind here, but you would find the 8 recordings of that. So let's just get that out of the way, and just know that this right here is where you would start. Now, you would come over here to Prolog Projects, and then as you were watching those, you would go up, you would scroll up in Prolog Projects, and you would find all the work for each of the different weeks, right? And the Linux System Administration course starts you off with what a lot of courses do, like if we were college professors or something. If I were a college professor and I was making you do this stuff, I would make you come in here and do a self-assessment. And then you would go in and look, there's been 123 messages in here. Each week you do a post, and then you do a response back. Oh, Hawaii was good, YouTube. Hawaii was real good. I was showing you guys pictures the other day. I can post pictures. They're up in Off Topic and Sports and Outdoors. But let me show this real quick, and then we'll get back to that. But there's 2 discussions, maybe 3 discussions each week, and then you go in and you have to do a response to the discussion. So in this one, you go and you just give yourself a number here for how well you think you know these things, and what do you want to do? What do you want to learn from a course? If you were taking a Linux Systems Administration course, what would you want to know? Now you do got to remember, if you're starting the course now, which is perfectly fine, you're 8 weeks behind, and it's about eight hours of work each week to get caught up. So you're 64 hours behind, if you want to think of it like that. You got a lot of work to do. But then you go forward, and then there's some other topics here, questions, and this one says to find a job that's interesting to you. And then you go in and you start finding all these different jobs that people were using, and you find out that all these people are interested in similar stuff than you, and different people are interested in different things, and you can go and look at kind of what's going on and what people are looking for out in the industry. And you're like, well, I'd like to do all Linux, but I can't find any jobs. I'm going to have to learn some of this cloud stuff because that's what everybody's talking about over in the cloud, right? So you spend some time in there, and then you just kind of keep going through, and each week you download the material. If you don't want to download the material, you can just come here. Like if you don't want to use, let's say you're not interested in using DocX, like a LibreOffice or something, then you could come down here and you can just grab the, I have it as a copy here. And here's some definitions, terminology, things you need to go look up. And these are for your own notes, right? Like these are things for you to learn about, and then reflection questions. You can dig a little deeper and think about your engineering times. And then you can come up here and there's the actual digging deeper section. So we talk about why is uptime so important? Why is it also important to understand how systems fail, right? Systems failing directly affects our uptime, so us understanding it directly relates to how quickly we can handle problems and get back to a running state, right? That's like just system logic, right? So there's all this stuff going on, right? And there's all this stuff that's been done and new stuff coming out. Here's all the old discussions. I think discussions go away once people have not talked in them for like a week. So some people have been talking in these first 2 because people are catching up. So then these will start to fill up and I'll start to see them. Section 1, professionally, I've been using Linux for about 21 years now. I've been a professional for 21 years. I've been a professor teaching it for 16 years. And I've had the title of engineer for almost 20 years as well. So, yep. But yeah, I'm a Linux engineer. That's all I do. I literally live all day like this right here. On this left side here. I live at a black screen with green letters or white letters all day. That's what I do. But I got asked, how about another way to get connected to the lab? So there's another way to connect into the lab for people, but this is a more generic one. This one doesn't have as much to do with the Linux Systems Administration course, and this is through a tool called Apache Guacamole. And let's say that you were me, and you went in there. You would drop in, and then you would get access to any of these nodes. So let's go to Lab 6 here. And Lab 6 will connect me down to that machine, and I'll see that it's a dev environment right here. You guys should be able to see that it's the dev environment right there. And this is, we're in Lab 6, and this is actually, all these things that I'm doing here are actually being tracked over here in LogSec. If I switch this over to, these are all called Dungeon. Yeah. I believe they're all called Dungeon. And we don't worry about that. Let's go back to 6 hours. Back to the last 6 hours. And I just leave this as Dungeon, and then I start doing stuff over here. Right, and I send that to wall. And then I try to like maybe ping lab 7. And oh, I can't find lab 7, but can I ping 192.168.11.1? Oh, I can get out there. And can I do an IP-BR ADDR, which will tell us, okay, here's our interface, and I'm actually running on Oh, this is interesting. I didn't realize. Maybe I did know this. These are not on their own network. These are in these are in my network. They're not off in that other network. All right, Chevy. My course does give a certification. That certification will be worth whatever the professional Linux users group certification is worth. But I mean, I definitely wouldn't say most people that are doing the course are having fun with it. They are working their asses off. So, I mean, you couldn't. I don't think you could finish all the things I've put together for you guys and not like learn something. So, while it would be for fun, there is also going to be some change of like knowledge and that kind of stuff. YouTube asks, how does Guacamole connect to a home lab? So Guacamole is a server. Let me pull this up for you guys real quick. I gotta go turn this thing back on. Oh my gosh, jeez. All right, so let's turn that back on real quick. So Guacamole is a server. He sits right here. Where's he at? Right here. And when I connect to Guacamole as a server, he has the ability. So PSEF grep-i guac. So there's a process running called Guacamole. It's an Apache service, and what it does is it takes a front-end connection through a web page, which is this right here, and it allows a user to authenticate. So I'm going to exit here real quick, and then you're going to be back. I'm going to go back to my home, and it allows a user to connect to a static page, and then this just holds active connections back to the different systems. So I could go to like a Lab 7 box real quick, and Lab 7 is just a box back in my environment now. And I can say, who am I? Uptime, you know, I've been up for 305 days, and then I can clear the screen. Cat Etsy MOTD, right? Like I can see stuff that's going on in the environment and whatever, all that stuff. Hey, Monkey Man, how's it going? Thanks for coming back. How many weeks is the course? It's 16 weeks, and we're in week 8 right now. So we've got until the end of the year. And when I'm done with this course, I think we're on track for about 3 to 5 people to finish it right now. So somewhere between 3 and 5 people. And they'll get little certs. The certs look like this. Let me show you guys what the certs look like. Oh, I gotta pull that up. I'll show you guys. They're up in the Discord. Enjoy Linux, but I have no idea what kind of certs are required to get a job with it. Yeah, Hot Rod Chevy, it's not necessarily that you have to have a cert. I don't have any certs in Linux. I have all kinds of certs and other stuff in the industry, but I've never gotten a single Linux cert because all I do is work with it. So really, for me, like it's understanding basic tasks, and it's understanding kind of how it all works. Yeah, YouTube basically it establishes a front end that you can connect to, and then it gives reverse proxy connections back to, and it opens a shell for you. That's all it does. It's pretty easy when you get it all set up to get it working. There is a few little proclivities around SSH keys that kind of can be annoying, but for the most part, it's not too bad. So, thanks for the follows, Neck and Kaizna. Hopefully, these things are useful to you. We're just building stuff. And Kura Mumba, if I missed you, thanks for the follow. We're not working too hard. We're just kind of hanging out, and you guys caught me monologuing, so I'm sitting here talking a lot. Oh, let me get this other crap out of the way. Hold on. I didn't realize that thing was still in the way. Let me get that out of the way. I was showing you stuff down on this screen over here, and I had something in the way of it. But anyways, you get logged out back to here, and this is like a Guacamole session, and see how I can see all the different open connections here, and I can just connect into any one of the nodes that I want to, as long as I have permissions to do things on them, right? And then if I do whatever I want to on there, technically I should be able to come back over here, and now see how I see inmate logged in, who am I, ID, I see all these things happening right here. Well, that's because in here, if I say echo hello streamer, or hello gamer, Chevy, YouTube, and who's another one? Monkey Man. Right, I can throw that to the wall, and if I come back over here, Look at this right here. It says, it should say when this refreshes in 10 seconds or under 10 seconds, it should say that message right here. Oh yeah, hello streamer, Echo, Chevy game, and it has all of those right here. Now there's some log errors because of how I did it, but I can actually see them up here. That's funny. That command gave an error though. There was a log parse error probably because of the pipe, but it still went to var log dungeon. So on this box, it's just tail dash f var log dungeon. Huh. Ah, that's funny. See how it's coming to the screen as fast as it can write it? I'm going to hit Control C. Alright, so now I'm out of it. But then if I go over here, we'll see the logs in a few seconds. When this refreshes. Yeah, see how it logged? It logged itself logging information out to the screen, so that's kind of funny. Yeah. Yeah, Tsubaki, that's true. So King Tsubaki said tinkering is learning. I agree. I think, I tell you guys all the time, engineering is just hacking with planning before it and proper documentation at the end of it. So you can become a good engineer just by learning how to kind of wrangle your hacking in. And then I always tell you, nobody's going to pay you for hacking, but they will pay you for good engineering. And hacking is a section of it. It's part of it. If you guys watch me throughout the day try to get anything done, you'd be like, man, I can't believe this guy gets anything done. But there's a bit of a purpose, and I drive towards a certain goal, and then hopefully I eventually, find the right procedure to do something, and then I clean up my procedure and I build whatever it is that I plan on building, and then I build repeatable procedures. Once I can repeat a procedure, I can automate it, and then we run through and make things better as engineers, right? So, all right. Yeah, so that's just something to think about. I need a break real quick. I'm going to walk away for like a minute. I'm going to throw this can of Monster out, and I'm going to grab me a drink. So I will be right back, guys. Also, I see that my system is not spinning right now, so let me spin this a little bit. Huh. Yeah, I do have to get a lot of things done. That's the one thing about what I do. Let me pull up. Let me make sure this thing is spinning. So that'll spin. Normally I leave that stuff spinning for you guys. I actually have stuff to do now that I think about it. I have other stuff I got to work on while we're kind of hanging out. So you guys can keep hanging out. Like, we got people dropping into the Discord, which is awesome. So, look around if you're in there, do all this stuff. Yeah, we got a good number of people kind of popping in. We get a lot. It's kind of funny. Ever since I started streaming over on YouTube as well as Twitch, we get a fair number of people that are actually looking to do Linux. A lot of times people just stumble in on Twitch and they're like, oh, what's going on here? And then they leave or they go back to gaming or whatever. But this is more, we're trying to, normally I'm much more educational. Like, we're actually hanging out and doing stuff. Right now, we're just kind of hanging out, working on stuff. If you have any questions about any of the stuff you see popping up there behind my little penguin, let me know. If you want to add anything, you want me to add anything to my notes about what we're working on, Oh yeah, schizophrenic. I think you mentioned something in the chat. Um, I can definitely look at that. Yeah, yeah. Side quests are always good. Yeah, we have to drive towards a specific thing sometimes. Let's get out of there. And I'll close down the Apache guacamole. But the guacamole is another way for you guys to get in the labs if you need to. Although you drop into a different set of servers and you have a different set of permissions. In the Rocky labs, you guys are root. You can do anything you want on those boxes. And then all you got to do is reboot them when you're done, and it just resets them to clean because they're stateless nodes. The lab boxes, the lab 5, 6, 7, or I think it's 6, 7, 8, 9, and also the blue and the red boxes, you can jump in those, but the problem with them is they're not you're not root on there. You're just an inmate in a dungeon, which was kind of a little bit of a joke that we had when I was working on some stuff last year. So, or I guess earlier this year, I was really working on that. But yeah. So let's let that keep spinning. By the way, there's labs. If you want to go work on labs in a free environment, there's Killer Coda. Killer Coda is 100% free. Doesn't charge you anything. I'm not affiliated with them, except that I do build labs there. But the labs don't pay me anything because they don't charge you anything. But I just like to build labs that show people how to use Ansible and Linux and these other tools. And they like to they like to have labs open for you guys to go and learn that stuff. So there's like Ansible if you want to get some hands-on Ansible stuff. You've never done it before. You want to get a little better at it. There you go. All right. So, what else are we doing? Ranger looks like he's hanging his head off the side of the bed, off the side of his little bed there, his little pillow, so that's kind of funny. I got to do some work stuff in this other window, so let me see what's going on here. I sent an email off, so that's good. And I have a meeting at 2:30, so it's a couple hours away. I have stuff to review, I have stuff to write. Yeah. I have not used Molecule. Def not Freddy. No, I haven't used Molecule. I've seen some stuff with it, but I haven't gotten to play with it or anything. No. The most I've used, I know what Molecule kind of does, but I've done some similar type of things with Ansible, AWX, or Tower. Tower, of course, became Ansible Automation Platform, AAP now, which reminds me too much of AARP, but Ansible Automation Platform will let you do, like if you're building pipelines and then you just want to trigger it through API calls, you can do that. And then, like, let's say you just want the build to happen every time there's a GitHub action or something, you can do that super easy. So no, I haven't used Molecule, but I've used other tools that have built in like frameworks for Ansible testing. There's a framework that I want to use soon. It comes from CIQ. So CIQ is the same people that do they do Werewolf and Rocky, and they've got another product called Ascender, which is basically another Ansible. It's a downstream Ansible tower. So it's the alternative to Ansible Automation Platform. I have not found. I need to download this and get this in the environment, but I have not went and did that yet. So how do you test your Ansible testing without paying for enterprise stuff? I work in the space, so I use environments that I play with, like environments that I work in to build stuff. So, but if you're talking like Ansible testing, like against, I mean, I guess it depends what you're asking. In my home lab, I have, tens of machines to play with. In my work environment, I have thousands of machines to play with. If you're talking about just like testing things and pulling stuff back and just hitting nodes and stuff, that's just an ad hoc play, right? That's not anything serious. But I always have one or two nodes that are my what you would call my dev or my test environment before I get to prod. So I always have a few nodes that I can test stuff on and build them out. So basically my nodes that I spin on quickly as I'm working through. So I would call like my little method of hacking away at things as an engineer, kind of like a rapid waterfall model. Oh, there's a huge difference between RHEL and Debian. Yeah. But I got to tell you this, King Subaki. He asked, is there a big difference between RHEL and Debian? Yes, there is. But on the Bash side of things, 95% of things are the same. The differences you're going to find between RHEL and Debian are going to be in the ways you do networking, in the ways that maybe some of your user creation works and security comes out of the like the general default. SE Linux behaves differently. It's native to RHEL, so SE Linux works over there, but other tools are available like AppArmor and stuff like that. So there's some things that are a little different. If you have zero Linux experience, right? If you've never done any Linux, let's say somebody here has never done any Linux, I would tell them the number one thing, whether it's RHEL or Debian, is to start getting your hands on the keyboard and practicing. The minutia and differences between RHEL and Debian are greatly outshadowed or overshadowed, if you want to think of it like that, overshadowed by just not knowing anything for people. So people that are starting, start with anything, and then later get in and start to dig into other stuff. Well, Def Not Freddy, what I do a thing called painting with a wide brush. I always understand that there's a thing called Pareto's rule, and Pareto's rule is 80% of the outcomes are going to come from 20% of the servers. So let's say, so Def Not Freddy, let's say that I have 1,000 machines that I've got to update, and I'm going to run my Ansible playbook, and I've tested it, and I'm reasonably confident that it's going to work, but it breaks on, out of my 1,000 machines, let's say it breaks on 20 machines. That's expected. That's even lower than expected. So it breaks on 20 machines. I do all my patching and I get 980 machines back up. But then those other 20 machines, me and the engineers on my team are going to have to remediate. We're going to have to go in and say, oh, patching didn't work because the RPM database needed to be rebuilt. There was some error. Or var cache yum or var cache DNF was completely filled up. And we need to figure out, what the heck, how to make that not happen in the future. Maybe we even add in an Ansible check. But what I do is, it's called painting with a wide brush. Well, that's what I call it. And it's this idea that it's a wide brush, not a white brush. A wide brush, wide. My stupid closed captioning is trying to make me seem like a dummy. I want to paint with a wide brush and hit as much as I can, and then come back and remediate. So that's the thing, is like, you can't ever. There's no possible way to ever provide for all contingencies. So, in the words of General Patton, a violently executed plan, or what does he say? A decent. Oh shit! Hold on. Let me just pull it up. Let me pull it up. No, I don't have my Ansible right here. We could pull it up here. Hold on. Where's it at? Here's his plan. A good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan executed next week. So. Well, Def Not Freddy, I guess, you can't. You have to build, I don't want to say janky things, but you have to be willing to have things that work just good enough, because there's this old saying about, well, I guess it's kind of that. Like, we could spend an extra, maybe let's say 40 hours of development in some playbook that I'm running, and I might knock out 3% more of the errors that might have occurred across that execution. But to me, it would be easier to recover those machines with my junior engineers than to make sure that my playbook's 100% across. Because even if it was 100%, there's still going to be some other thing that might pop up that I missed. I might have forgotten that Mercury was in retrograde and that server was just going to shit itself no matter what I did. Well, I don't know, right? Yeah, Red Hat's pretty good. Red Hat works pretty well, Hannah, so that's good. After a bit of hopping around, I'm still on base Debian and adding tools I want over as I need them. Nice, Subaki. Yeah, look, I tell you guys all the time, I'm not super prescriptive of what you learn or how you learn it. When you go to start to be a professional, it's the same thing. People come in all the time. They're like, I use Arch Linux. And I'm like, well, congratulations. That's awesome. Arch Linux is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you come to me and say, Scott, I want to be a Linux engineer, what am I missing? I would tell you, well, what you're probably missing, because companies aren't hiring you, is you have no experience in Red Hat and Ubuntu and SLES, which are the enterprise Linux versions that are used out there, primarily Red Hat. And I say, well, you need to get experience with those, and you probably need to put down the arch and pick up the big boy pants and go and do stuff that a company wants. All right, I don't call them big boy pants, but what I'm saying is like, I'm not prescriptive with you guys. You guys can do whatever you want. We're a group of hobbyists and professionals, but I do tell people, like, if you tell me a goal, I will tell you how to get to that goal as best I can, but sometimes that has to be stop thinking like a hobbyist as much. But I don't care what people use in the environment. We use all kinds of crap, and you guys see I use all kinds of crap. But at the end of the day, like, you have to get experience with the tools that the companies want, right? And I've never seen, in all my career, I've never seen Arch professionally used. Well, let me take that back. Somebody one time on one of my streams said that they had some of it. They had Arch running in some type of dev environment somewhere. And I'm like, well, that's cool, but that's still not prod. Companies make money off of prod, so that's what they care about. That's so strange. In 2000, Golden Enterprise Center was Debian, vanilla, not Red Hat. Yeah, Debian was popular. Red Hat has slowly taken every bit of the market share. Not every bit. They've got a lot. Ubuntu was just in like 2004 maybe. Ubuntu was finally allowed to be part of, did I say 2004? 2024. No, it was 2020. If I said 2004, I apologize. It was 2020. Is about when Ubuntu was allowed to be in government projects. So now you can use Ubuntu in some government projects depending on your architectures that you need, depending on what kind of HBA cards you're using for your high-speed network and stuff. Subaki, if you're just wanting to work and get experience, I would definitely tell you to work some with Red Hat. And Red Hat can be flavors of Red Hat. You could use Fedora. You can use Alma or Rocky Linux. You can download Red Hat and use their developer version for free. Yeah, Ubuntu is basic Debian under the hood. Yeah, we have a fair amount of labs. If you go to Killer Coda, all of those labs are done in Ubuntu. Every lab in here is actually an Ubuntu lab. Well, under the hood. But Ansible itself doesn't change its behavior as long as you can SSH connection to a box. None of the other stuff really matters all that much. So, all right. But hopefully people are getting good stuff out of at least lurking and hanging out, you know. But yeah, I know some people are looking for work, and when you want to look for work, I tell you, you gotta go to. Unfortunately, unless you're going to start your own company and run your own Linux, you have to kind of go to where the industry is at. So, something to think about. All right, let me check. I got some stuff to check over here. I got to check some environment stuff. What are we doing here? Got a 230, but that's not too bad. You guys can see the lab, what was happening in the lab, all those messages coming to the screen. That's pretty funny. So, in our environment, we can keep track of, we mainly track metrics and logs, but there's also a thing called trace data, and then we can start to dig into trace data. For fun, Arco is a very cool project of Arch that is also worth mentioning. Nice. I've never played with Arco. Yeah, there's probably some good stuff that can be done with it. I've put Arch Linux on some Linux servers before, and then I've just kind of backed away from them because I didn't really have a use case for them. There wasn't much for me to do with it, so I just kind of used it to see what was going on. Oh man, I shouldn't be yawning so much. It's only 1 o'clock here. It's not so late in the day. What is the best way to have PCIe pass through in Proxmox containers? Xshunya, I have no idea. I have never used Proxmox either in or out of the professional world. The guys that I know that have used Proxmox are Fisherman's used it. Oh, you have to have an NVIDIA GPU in some containers. One of the guys was just talking about that in Discord. I think if you go up in, he might have been doing an 8. I don't know exactly where he was talking about it, Xshunya, but somebody was definitely talking about that the other day. I hope it wasn't you, and I'm just pointing you back to you. But no, somebody was working on that. They were trying to do NVIDIA and some of their, well, they were doing, I think they were trying to pass through virtual GPUs to their virtual machines, but still, that's something that's possible. Something that you have to look into, though. I haven't done that much. Yeah. Yeah, the main differences are how the tools handle networking, disks, users. Those are the main things that I would say are different. Disks. D-I-S-K-S. Who has ever spelled discs like that? Like frisbee disc golfers? I'm not a frisbee disc guy. Jeez. Jeez. Yeah, you can definitely do it in VMs. I've never tried to pass through to a container for GPU. That'd be interesting. Next one, how do you prefer to be up to date with the latest tech? Is there any blog or something you're following? How do you plan your day if you want to learn something besides your shift? Slex one, I kind of study all day no matter what I'm doing. Sometimes I hang out with you guys. Sometimes I study stuff on my own. I actually can listen to stuff while I work. So that's not everybody can do that. I can also sit in complete silence and work. I'm kind of pretty sure I'm kind of psychopathic or what was that? Sociopathic. Right, where like I don't need anything like that. I can just do something. When I was younger and I was a runner, I could run 10 miles without headphones on, and my buddies would all be like, "I don't know how you can do that, man. I need music, I need whatever." And I'm like, "I don't need nothing. I just need my thoughts." But anyway, so with staying up with latest tech, I just keep up with high performance compute news. Also, Atlanta is where they're going to have the high performance compute convention in a couple of weeks. That is all in person. So there's nothing virtual there. Xshunya, I've never even tried it with XCPNG. I'm pretty sure the version I have doesn't do it. The much older version of XCPNG I have, I'm pretty sure doesn't pass through GPU. And if it does, it probably doesn't do it super well. Xshunya, how does the industry tend to use it? So what I normally do is I use physical machines, and then I'll use a tool like Slurm, and then jobs that need to run against a GPU workload or in a GPU cluster, they would go against the partition in Slurm that hits all the GPU boxes, and then we would have like NVIDIA SMI on there, and NVIDIA SMI would be our way of interacting with our GPUs on all those boxes. Xshunya, that basically what I described is basically what I would consider the best practice out there. Slurm will have a partition. So Slurm partitions look like this. Slurm partitions are part of their workflows, and you get your normal Slurm stuff, and then you would have the partitions are all the machines that are running Slurmd. So while this doesn't look great, it actually is pretty good at showing here's one partition, and then a job might be across so many nodes and a job against another. Well, one of these partitions, like maybe partition 2 here, this would be all your GPUs. And your GPU runs would be automatically run over here, or you would tell them to go over there. And there's different ways that you can do that. Yeah, Xshunya, Slurm is one of the best tools. I don't know some of the other systems that are good for it, but that's what we use in Slurm. And then there's, you partition, and all those nodes belong in the same partition. Then we have other tricks with our partitions and how we do them to make things work better. But it's a good idea. This is what the partitions look like right here. This is an example of a partition right here. I know there's a lot of stuff there, but it doesn't really matter too much until you get into tuning. When you start to tune things, this matters very much. But if we're not talking about tuning things, then this doesn't matter so much. So... Yeah, Slurm has some really good stuff on there, and I'm going to make more labs for you guys, but currently I have some labs that show you guys how to build Slurm. They're down in the Linux side of things. So I need to build one. I actually have all the notes for it to get Slurm database running, and that just involves putting MariaDB and then starting the Slurm DBD and pointing it to it, and then you can have the nodes. Once you have a database backend for Slurm, then you have accounting and you have audit. So, I'm working on that. But in the industry, we have multi-GPU clusters to do fully shared model parallel for the 70 gig model training. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things. I haven't worked with any of that stuff, unfortunately, Xshunya. I can just tell you the way that I've seen it done and the way that I've done it in my clusters. And that's mainly because, the engineers wanted it that way, Users can get on, users can do whatever different types of setups that we might have. And then we have different tools that a user can do to build their environment out. That kind of stuff. I think I'm falling asleep, man. I'm like yawning. And I'm like, I just took my glasses off and started to feel my eyes get all heavy. All right, I'm going to try to stay awake for a little bit longer because I want to hang out and get some work done. There's Bottleneck. How's it going? We're not working too hard, but we're just kind of hanging out and talking through stuff. Let me pull this back up. So now we'll be watching Werewolf again over here, and then I don't even have my notes up, but keep telling you guys about Discord. I need to clean up some lab items, do some work. I've been doing work. I've been sending emails. I've been so sending emails is 2, work done, school done, right? So school is teaching, because I tend to be teaching, so I think you guys can see all that. So this is kind of our notes of what we're working on today. Yeah, look up Slurm. Slurm has some interesting ways of interacting with that stuff, but we do that, and then typically it's built into like our open API connector, how we all communicate back to the high-end storage. So there's also, I've shown you guys this, but there's also, how does the system that we're interacting with, how fast is it, right? So like if I'm on one of these nodes, let's just say I go to Rocky 7, and you're like, all right, Scott, I need to test the speed into like we're gonna write lab work df-h dot. I can see that I'm in lab work here, and maybe I say, well, I wanna add some space, or I wanna see how fast my system, which is a virtual machine on the same back end, so it's over the same host bus with this virtual host that is giving me. He's a not even virtual host. He's a type 1 hypervisor. That host is giving me from XCP-ng a virtual NIC, a virtual RAM, virtual networking. But then I use that virtual RAM, virtual CPU, virtual networking to connect over and download this off of another machine, and that machine is also virtual on the system. So the question would be, how fast can we write a file into this folder? This remotely mounted on a different device, but still within the same device. How fast can we write it over there? And the answer is, well, I can check. dd in file equals dev 0, out file equals lab work, and then big file, right? And then in there I'll say block size is equal to 1024K, which is 1 meg, and count is equal to 1,000. So 1,000 megs would be 1 gig. So then I say 10,000. So 10 gigs. Let's write 10 gigs out here to this file, and just for fun, we'll put a time on the front of it, and we'll see how long it takes for us to write 10 gigs into our NFS file system. And we're just going to do it once and delete it, but maybe we want to do that a few times to test the behavior and see what the median average is. And then we find out later that we can up this box. We can give it a little more speed, or we can move this somewhere else, and then hopefully it's faster even though it's on a different device. And then we could go and figure out, well, no, it's actually much slower by 10% or something. We can start to quantify. Things don't have to feel fast or feel slow. We can actually quantify them, because look, engineers, we do not deal in feelings. It doesn't matter how good something does or doesn't feel. It depends how fast it actually takes. Look, so we were doing it at about 286 megs a second. I'm going to do a df-h again, and I'm going to do an rm-rf on lab work big file, right? That's going to delete. Yeah, Ekshunya, the goal of this is get you guys doing this. Yeah, and I see that you guys have been down there working. Yeah, you can be, Ekshunya, you can be one of the guys that tells everybody that this stuff is good for you. Even like, I don't go in there and bother the study groups often. I let the guys just kind of work on whatever they're studying. But I think there's a lot of stuff that you could go in there and get some valuable things. Let's make another one, because one test is okay, but 2 tests is even better. 3 tests is going to help you start to detect high and low values that are outside of a normal standard. And then as you get more and more tests, the more you can start to calculate your standard deviation with accuracy and figure out what is, if I have 10,000 tests, and then on 10,001 I can determine within a high degree of accuracy what's going to be within 1, 2, or 3 standard deviations from the mean, right? Based on how far away we are. That is 50 megs per second higher, almost, right? It's almost 50, and that is significantly higher. So we got a pretty wide range here. We don't really know which one's good yet. We have to start going and cleaning that up, right? So I did all this to show you guys that, and we put big file 1 that time. So I did all that to show you that, like, we can test things and we can look at things and we can understand them in different contexts. And I tell you guys often, like, we ask ourselves questions and then we go and verify them. We prove things to ourselves as engineers as we go, and as administrators, and we find where problems exist. All right. So that stuff's running. Let me go see what's going on here. Back again, got work for the day done. Nice, nice. Yeah, Tsubaki, you're welcome to hang out here. You're welcome to go hang out in the Discord too. Let me see. Hold on. We have nobody's down there in the Discord right now, but you guys are always welcome to hang out down there when you find it. Let me go post over here, Discord, and I will pull this down for you guys in the multi-stream. I guess I'll just drop it here and it'll go back to both sides, but it'll also go out to YouTube. So you guys on YouTube, you should be able to see the Discord link if you want to go in there. It's also down in the description. But you guys are welcome to hang out down there and do whatever you want. Got to emphasize, nothing in there costs any money. You just go hang out and talk shop with other engineers, right? All right. What am I doing here? I've been kind of noodling on some. I sent some college stuff off. I can check my. Let's go check some work stuff. It's always useful. Make sure everything's going good over there. Yeah, I'm keeping a 90%, 90.78, so like 91% in the class right now. But that's only B plus in this one. So. Yeah, Skits, if you do that, I'll look for you, and we'll make sure that you have access. I'll make sure that you have access to get into the cluster. Make sure that whatever's been stopping you isn't stopping you anymore. So, Exshunya, what are you trying to intercept? How are you trying to intercept the command? With a, I don't ever use the file descriptor really. Oh yeah, Skits, that's good. Yeah, find things that are find things that are good. Find other things out there that are valuable and spackle on what you know to other things. So yeah. Thanks for the disco. Was there a disco somewhere? Is that the music? Yeah, there's a lot to do in that course for people that want it. There's a whole lot of stuff. I try not to leave you guys guessing where to go next. I try to give you a lot of stuff to like, hey, study this, learn this, and then how do you apply it to like a business scenario, and hopefully that gets you guys ready. Oh, the disco, the Discord, okay. When you said disco, I started thinking like Austin Powers. He's like, groovy, baby, yeah. I never did the voice the other day. I told you guys I've got a voice that I do very well that I didn't tell you guys what it was, but I think I might have mentioned it was from the movie Shrek. But I do it well, and my brother John does it even better. My brother John sounds exactly like the character. I think I do a pretty good job of it, but everybody thinks my brother does an even better job. But it's it's the gingerbread man. So I've been training my whole life for that character. So, but my brother John sounds exactly like the character. Like he could have been the one that voiced it, and I would have believed him if somebody told me that. So I've got a voice chat with my brothers, and I have 4 brothers. If you guys don't know, so me and my brothers are all in a voice chat, and I mentioned to one of them that I was slipping and I might get a C, and then one of the other ones has all straight A's in his master's program right now. So he's like, I got straight A's, but this one teacher's really dogging me right now, so it's kind of funny. Um, we don't all have degrees. Only me and one of my other brothers do. The other 2 didn't really go that route. I guess one of the other ones, my older brother has a bachelor's as well. But my other brothers don't. They weren't really interested in school, so they didn't do anything. I just want to understand how Bash starts processing, creates the output. So I try to run a while loop and intercept the signal. I failed at it. Oh, Exshunya, if you ask about that in the Bash system tricks, I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure that, especially if you ask Sending Grounds, he's one that probably has done that. Um, I guess it depends like what you're trying to do. If you really want to watch something happen though, Exshunya, every time you kick it off, use strace. So watch this. I don't know exactly what you're trying to do, but I'm just gonna say if I was gonna do like while true, do uptime sleep 3 sleep 2 done, right? And now every 2 seconds this is gonna do whatever. If I have strace on a box, right? I do have strace, and then let's say that I do an strace, and then I can either run it against that like as a loop, but it'll probably only strace the while true part. So the loop. If I wanted to, yeah, I mean, I guess this would be fine. This is gonna go and it's gonna wrap. Let's do it like this. There's another way we can do it too if we really had to, but let's do this. No such file directory. All right, we could do it like this too then. There's another way to do it. We just do this and then ampersand background it, and then so that'll be in the background, right? And then we see ps-ef grep-i for while, right? And so now there's where the hell's that process? Jobs running while true do uptime sleep. Those are going to keep popping up down there. Where is this loop at? super annoying. Hold on. Why is that not showing up? Specific plans, discuss project ideas. Mint, no, you can ask them anywhere. You can ask those things anywhere if you want. I would go down in the project. If we don't have a specific place for discussing them, I'll make one project discussion thread. Anyone can post. So I'm just gonna make a thread in the thing. Create thread. Yeah, so it's in Prolog projects. It's the bottom thing. Thinking about a program that listens to updates from some routers, manage tracks their IPs for all homemade DDNS set up for them, and can't put them on statistics. Cool. It seems reasonable. Yeah, I mean, look, man, I'm not going to limit people away from doing programming stuff. I'm not going to be the best one to judge those. I mean, I can obviously judge something is working or not, but I'll probably have to bring in some of our other programmers to look at some of that stuff and give you, like, I can give constructive feedback on it worked or it didn't work. What's our plan for maintaining it going forward? But those guys will be able to give you much better, like, oh, hey, you're properly doing, you put everything, why'd you put everything here and then run two functions? You're not really building this object oriented, or like that kind of stuff. That's not really stuff that I do professionally. Like I understand the basics of some of that stuff, but yeah, you're gonna have to have one of the other guys help you with that part of it. So I'll probably bring some other guys in to grade and look at the stuff. But yeah, if you have questions or you want to clarify or bounce the ideas off somebody, you can use that. That's a pretty static place now to go do that. So hold on, what was I doing? I was looking for something. Oh, I was looking for this. Hold on. Where is... So this is still running here. So my system is... I guess the thing it spends the most time doing is sleep. So there's the process ID, and here's the parent process ID for it. I know I don't need the I. And then the process ID of sleep, here's the bash as the parent process ID. Yeah. So that's not gonna take me anywhere, because that's just I guess what I can do then is I can do this strace dash p this the PID, and I should be able to watch this run. So I guess that would work, Akshunya, if you're trying to look at the process ID. Yeah, the process ID keeps changing because we're sitting on a sleep, and then it's coming back up with it's running very quickly through the other stuff. Yeah. So the while is not sitting there. It's just it's holding, right? So I mean, I guess we can go in and look at what's happening here with strace if we want, but this is less interesting to me unless there's something that's problematic, iProcessor, hey, hello to Hetanis. This is over on the Twitch side. May sound like a silly question, but where can I find channels that provide content like you here on Twitch? Don't get me wrong. I don't know of anybody that does what I do, iProcessor. The closest to what I do on Twitch is probably RWX Rob. He's probably the other most educational type streamer. Most people are just kind of hanging out and doing whatever. I'm also just hanging out right now and doing like co-working, but as far as like people trying to educate people, there's not very many of them out there, I don't think. So yeah, I mean, but you're welcome to hang out with. I would just keep looking, and also some of you guys know I refuse to be in the software and gaming channel, so I kind of hang out over in the science and technology channel, so because I just can't stand some of the pretentiousness I find over there in the software gaming. I think I've done one stream in there because somebody asked me to, ever. So if you ever find a record of me being in there just once, that was because somebody asked me to. But normally I'm over in science and technology because I consider that much more what we're doing. We're not writing code. We're not doing any of that stuff. Whoops. Let's go back over here. And jobs. So what we can do is we can say FG1 and it'll foreground 1. And now that'll be back and I can hit Control C and stop it. So if you're ever doing this, right? So look at what happened here. I did a while true do uptime sleep 2 done, and I put them in the background. I ampersanded them. So now I couldn't, like was said, I couldn't get rid of them. But if I do jobs, I'll see one job backgrounded. So that's foreground job 1 to bring it to the foreground again. Now it controls my terminal, and I Control C it and stop it. So that's a little trick that'll help you out if you're a sysadmin. The other thing I had done was I jumped to my other terminal, so my terminal isn't locked anymore. And I could have just killed that bash if I wanted to, but I didn't want to. It's me, Peeve said Scott's the best. Yes, I agree. I also think I'm the best. Tell me more about myself. There's a scene, so me and the wife knows not to compliment me ever because there's a scene from the original Aladdin cartoon where Princess Jasmine doesn't want Jafar to turn and see Aladdin, so she's like, oh, you're so tall and dark and handsome, and she's like playing with his goatee and stuff. He's got this little twirly goatee, and she's like basically just like calling him all these nice names, and he's like, oh yes, now princess. Well, he calls her pussycat, but I always tell the wife princess. And he says, now princess, tell me, or he says, now pussycat, tell me more about myself. Like he just wants to hear things good about himself. So if the wife ever tells me anything nice ever, it doesn't matter what the compliment is. I'm like, oh, now princess, tell me more about myself. Because I'm definitely the most humblest. You can just ask me. Anyway, so that's kind of funny. Something's printed in the terminal. That must be some file. Yeah, Shania, all that stuff that was printing in the terminal here, that's actually in the other terminal that I was watching it. It's just whatever was happening with the sleep command until it got done. You know, whatever was happening. So, yeah. No, that's my wife definitely has her hands full dealing with me most of the time. So that's kind of funny. But we get along pretty well. So that's always good. I've known the wife since I got out of the army. So I've known her a long time. Pretty sure I was 22 when I met her, and she would have been like 27-ish, so she's a little bit older than me. But do all the Linux. There we go. Okay, what are we doing then? I am going to be, while we're over here, I'm going to be over here checking my grades. They look fine. I'm going to check my next course that's coming up, which is funny. I can see the course, but when I click on it, it doesn't drop me into the new course yet. So it's not going to pop up probably until tomorrow, because tomorrow's when the class actually starts. So that'll be good. What else do we got? Also, I might have missed Kaizna. Maybe I didn't, but thanks for the follow if I missed you. Hopefully you're lurking around and picking stuff up. Most all the stuff that I show you guys is also in the Discord, and I show you how to build anything that's in anything that I do in my home lab. I show you guys how to build. So that's something for you guys to know how to do. So the decision to do Rocky actually came from something professional. So in a professional project that I'm currently on still, it had already been decided that they were going to run Werewolf and Rocky for a big government cluster. This came down from Dell. They had done the big design, and then my company deployed it. And when I got on the project, it was mostly built. I had to clean up some stuff in my area. My area of expertise tends to be hardening and baselining servers. So they brought me on to harden and do all the security requirements of Rocky servers. Again, they were already Rocky. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to get into my environment and build stuff so in my home lab, I wanted to do some stuff that was very similar to that. And so what I did was I came over here and I started building out an environment. This is a running Rocky cluster, right? So and it's werewolf. So wwctl nodes list, right? I can see the nodes that are there. People can access them if they need to. I can look at my containers. I wanted to build out container list. I wanted to build things out and see what that process looked like. In fact, we hardened on the 3rd. So a couple days ago, we built a new version of this container and moved it forward to a newer version of the Linux Rocky 9 with all the patches applied. Now we did that, and then we tested it, and then we pushed that to be the profile on all of these machines. So if I do wwctl node list, and then I do CX Rocky 01 through 19 dash A grep dash I for container, we would see that all of the nodes. That's weird. It's doing that weird bug thing again. Isn't that weird, guys? Like we know. Oh, it's because I don't have a 0. Oh my gosh, people. Somebody needs to save me from myself. Oh God, do you guys see the problem there? Oh, we were trying to do that the other day, and I was like, why is it only hitting half the nodes? And I didn't track that. Oh God, let this be a very important lesson to you guys on width. Keeping everything the same width. Do you guys see how it's not 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, but rather 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Oh God, that's terrible. So they're different width, and that's why that thing doesn't work. Oh gosh, guys, you gotta stop me. Somebody's gotta stop me from myself. Yeah, I was having a problem the other day, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't see the damn 1 through 9 nodes, and I kept doing this, but not. It wasn't for this. It was for something else, and it just wasn't doing it. And damn it, that's why right there, guys, because 1 through 19 is not the same as 0 through 19. Good gosh, I didn't realize I hadn't done fit. So let that be a very important lesson to you in naming schemes. Normally in naming schemes, when I build servers professionally, I will do like a 3-digit. Like if I never expect to go over 100 nodes, I will still do a 3-digit. So Rocky 001 is what I really should have done for this one, because then I would have a fixed width all the way down no matter how many nodes I built. If I got to 99 and rolled over to 100, don't care. Don't have to add a digit. I'd have to get all the way up to 1,000 nodes, because if I use 000, 999 would be the 1,000th node. Most people wouldn't use 000, so that's fine. So then I'd still have to have 999 nodes before I ever rolled into another namespace. So some people use 4 digits, some people use 3. I just can't believe I did that. But see, this is one of these things. When I'm in a home lab, I do all kinds of dumb shit because I don't care nearly as much. But we have a hardened container. You guys have seen how we did some of that, how we get into a container. wwctl container exec for, let's say, Rocky Linux 9 lab of 03. Oops. And it should be able to tab for me. And then I say bin bash. Oops. And now I'm in the container as a chroot environment, and I can do whatever I want, whatever I need to build or do whatever, and then I can bounce out of it when I'm done. So these are things that I have options to do, right? In fact, I'm going to go ahead and exit that container because there's nothing to build, and then because there wasn't a failed exit command, then it'll try to rebuild everything, but that's not a big deal because it doesn't matter any. And then we can go. We can also directly add things to the containers through where they actually exist. So these containers all exist in a certain place on this box. But then when I finish working on them, I have to do a wwctl container build to do this process again. So I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Let's say I just need to add some software. I just need to add a directory or something. I could do that. I'll show you guys what I mean here in a second. Well, this is like the longest container build ever when I'm waiting for it, but But anyways, that's why I picked Rocky over other distros, was it was already done. Let's go look at Barlib Werewolf, and then we'll go into CH Roots. Oh, man. If I were a dinosaur, I'd be a Yanosaurus Rex. So here's my CH Roots, and I'm going to CD into Rocky Linux 9 Lab 03, right? And in there's going to be a root FS, and and in here, let's say I needed to go to opt, and I needed to build something that wasn't here, like Promtail. So I CD to Promtail, and maybe I needed to add some software or something. I could add it here, but then when I was done, right? So I'm done in this. Oops, oh, that's not good. Oh gosh, you guys got to stop me. Where am I at? Barlib Werewolf. CH Roots. In here, yeah, so in here, there's nothing already built in. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Opt has nothing in there. Oh, yeah, because opt gets overwritten anyways on the nodes. So if I come here, sage to Rocky 1, and I do a df-h, opt is actually just mounted off of the home of this other machine. So anything I put in there would be squished anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But let's say I had to put something in here. I had to like touch some file. Touching some file would put it here, but it wouldn't automatically be in that container until I did wwctl container build, and then the container build would be of the name of this container, and it would go through and it would build that container, and now it would add in opt that some file. Now let me prove this to you real quick. So it'll build it real quick, then we'll go and we'll CH root over to it and check. And it's CH root, or some people call it charoot, whatever you wanna, however you wanna do that. I just call it CH root. I've always called it that, CH root. That's how I've always said it. This will build. This will build. Once it's done building, then we'll go and we'll. All right, done. So now we go and we exec into that container again, which was, where's our exec? Right, and if we cd to opt, there's that sum file. rm-rf sum file. Exit. It's going to rebuild and it's going to be gone, and it should also be gone, hopefully, in this directory that I'm in right now. Because you'll notice that I never left this directory for all that packaging and stuff. I just did it right while I was standing in it, which doesn't really matter, but all right. Gone. It's been removed from out from under me. It's gone. No manual entry for grep. Where are you at, Skits? Did you get in? Ah, sounds like you're in. I don't know what happened to all the mans. Sometimes things are missing in the environment. I don't know. Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised that some of those things aren't there. There is a. Let's see what provides man. I think there's some base ones. No, probably because I didn't want to do anything. Huh. Oh yeah, I don't know. So, oh, so you're in though, Skits. That's awesome. I'm glad you got in. So, oh, you're probably on the same one as me. So if you're on the same one as me, you get that. Advice from your Uncle Jeff to younger folks. Try to remember to pause 1 full second after typing RM-RF. I'll do it. Hold on, let's go into a different node that nobody's in. Let's see, W who. Yeah, nobody's on here. Oh, it's dangerous to do that. I don't care. This will actually fail before it ever finishes deleting everything. It couldn't do it even if it wanted to, because it'll eventually get to wherever RM is stored, either in bin or user bin, and it'll delete it, and then when it goes to glob more, it won't be able to. Yeah, I couldn't even. That was terrible. Let's reboot. Reboot's not found. Oh no. All right. Let's I'll pull this up for you guys. Hold on. Where's my we'll put XCPNG on real quick, and we'll go kick over Rocky 6 real quick. And just for fun, because it's fun to watch them boot from the console. For people that have never seen, for people that have never seen a Rocky Linux box boot, it'll boot. Yeah. So now when that boots, that's a stateless node, so nothing I did to that node matters. It'll just go. Yeah. That container image that was expanded as a normal server in Rocky 6 is dead. So now we got to reboot Rocky 6 as a. We went down. So I always tell you guys, make sure you have a console access to anything. Let's force reboot. Oh, there he goes. All right. So now he's going to come up, and we're going to see him not find a disk or a hard anything, and he's going to go to iPixie. And with iPixie, he's going to find the one DHCP server in the environment, which is the Werewolf server. He finds out that he's Rocky 6. He finds out that this is his container and his kernel and his kernel args, and he pulls that stuff down. No. This is XCPNG. It's just a tool. XCPNG is like it was a fork of Zen when Oracle took over Zen. People forked it off, and XCPNG is just a tool, just an access. It's another way. I showed you guys just for me, it's just another way to get into my systems, right? Sometimes if I bork stuff up here and I can't get in and do Linuxy stuff over SSH, then I need another way to get into the box. And this is actually connected to the host, the hypervisor type 1 that runs on XCP NG Big New, which is the name of my servers. My servers are very cleverly named, right? Now it's going to build. It's going to actually, it's going to start the kernel. It's going to run its init ramfs. It's going to move everything over into ramfs, and then we're going to see it build its overlays right here. It's exactly like Proxmox, except most people like Proxmox more because it's more. Proxmox is a little more modern. XCPNG is a little older. People always ask me, like, do you recommend I start with XCPNG? Not really. I mean, start with a more modern tool that does some other things. Daft Duck, sometimes in Rock you have to reinstall ManDB to have all the man pages available. That sounds like something I'm probably going to have to do because, yeah, if the grep man pages aren't there, I probably do need to reload that. But I can show you guys what that process would look for me. So, all right, so this is booting, and these are all the overlays happening right here. So ww init starts, and then it calls all its overlays and brings them all up. Overlays are things that either run at system boot. Those are your system overlays, and then you have runtime overlays that check in and get called every 5 minutes within the cluster, which coincidentally was what we were watching over here before I started mucking around with my different servers. But this will boot up, and then we'll go back into Rocky 6 and we'll be in a clean box again. Right? Which is always the goal. Be in a clean server that's doing everything we want it to. Nothing else changed. All right, this should be back up. We could also been, whoops, we could have also been watching ping. So I'm gonna hide my XCPNG for a second because I'm not doing my normal screen share. I should be able to get back in here. Uptime. And he's back to being like a normal node in my environment, right? I'm almost redeeming something with my Twitch. What Enzo Bear? I didn't think I had anything worth valuable in there. I thought I got rid of all of them. Oh no, I don't want a uname -r. I want oh no, that's right. That's what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted. I wasn't thinking, but we're just running simple little ad hoc commands against all my nodes just for fun, just to see like, oh yeah, they're all built with the same kernel. Everything's doing the thing it should. Oh, Enzo Bear, I don't even know what I have in there. Now I'm worried. All right, well we'll see. We'll see when you get there. I guess I'll have to get off here in a little bit so that I don't go over whatever it is. King Subaki, I'm not sure what an SRPM is. Are you talking about what an RPM is? Like just a Red Hat package manager file that has all of the built-in packages and just dependencies needed for running some bit of software? Is that what you're talking about? You can build your own RPMs too. There's an RPM make, or it's RPM build. Sorry, RPM build. You can build software packages and then deploy them around your system once you're ready with them. Just another way to make sure that everything stays the same and works, which is a big part of engineering, making sure that things stay the same, making sure everything works. Yeah, I don't know about an SRPM. That might be something else. I'm not exactly sure what that is. But I've seen something like that before, but I just use RPMs. So. All right, I'm going to stretch my legs, guys. Let's just take a break for a minute. I'll put it down here. Oh. Exit out of there. And let's say, yeah, we'll just leave this thing tail in the project so we can keep an eye on what's going on. Oh, shit, where's my tail? There we go. All right, we'll let that run. And I'll leave, I don't know. Oh, Colcus is here. How's it going? I'll leave one of you guys in charge. One of you's in charge of everything. I guess I'll leave Enzo Bear in charge on the Twitch side, and I don't know. I think Subaki's been here the longest on the YouTube side, so you're in charge till I get back. Well, stretch my legs for a minute. All right. No, I just kind of walk around every now and then. I was just kind of. I do have a regimen when I get ready to train, like how I stretch out and stuff. But, so yeah, I kind of I'll walk and I always stretch out before I wrestle. Actually, I had a really good coach in high school that kind of before so sophomore and senior year I took weights. Took basic weights my sophomore year, and my senior year I took advanced weights. And I had a really good coach. He made us stretch out and he made us run every day. Those were two things. And we were like, Coach, we don't want to do it. And he would make us run 2 laps every morning, so it was half a mile, and then we would lift. But he always made us stretch, made us stretch out, made us do whatever. The Army always made me stretch out, so now when I wrestle, I always stretch out. And in my mid 40s, I still, within reason, never get injured. So that's kind of an important thing. So yeah, you gotta. I think stretching is a huge part of staying staying healthy. I got a lot of guys I know that are in better like physical shape than me, like they look better and they're all this, but I don't get injured because I stretch quite a bit. And I understand the difference between static and dynamic stretching too, which is also a different concept that's useful. So that's TOO, not the number 2. Yeah. Yep. We used to stretch. Well, actually, in the Army, we stretched both in before and after most workouts, but you can stretch further when you're cold. Well, you physically can stretch further when you're warm, but you can stretch further cold safer, because if you stretch far when you're warm, you can actually risk injury. So that's the kind of thing to understand if you're not already pretty in tune with what's going on with stretching. But yeah, I'm pretty and the wife jokes around this often because I do train a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So even though I'm a bigger guy, I'm probably more flexible than most adult males, anyways. But also for a big guy, I'm also much more flexible. So that's kind of funny. So people always joke around about, like, comedians will joke around about not being able to put their shoes on, and I'm like, I don't have any problem putting my shoes on. What the hell is that? Like, you can't pull your feet up and put it on your knee? Like, what the hell? Yeah. Strain an oblique while stretching the midsummer, so that tracks. Yeah. I actually strained an oblique. Well, I strained a rib one time sneezing. I remember I was 28 at the time, and I was like, "Geez, really?" Does Fedora follow a 6-month release cycle, or that's just, I don't know. I don't know what Fedora follows. We can go look. Check this out. This is I have no idea what Fedora's release cycle is, but this is how I'd figure out. And sometimes that might be a life cycle. Yeah, let's go look at their Linux release cycles. This probably looks a lot like the Red Hat thing when we get into... All right, so that's fine. But they don't have a good... a lot of times they'll show... no, well, this is not great. A lot of times they'll actually show like an image of what it looks like. They don't have crap here. Man, I was hoping they had like a nice little timeline, but it doesn't look like any of that. I don't know, even reading this, what the Fedora plan is. Looks like they're just wild, wild west out here. I mean, if they're not gonna... I don't know what... Yeah, I have no idea what these guys are doing. I have no idea what it's... I mean... I guess. Yeah, that's less than useful, but... You get it as an ICS, so you can actually get this. So, guys, if you get ICS, that's into your calendars, right? It's a calendar format. So this will actually be dropped into your calendar. So we're somewhere in here. In here, right? We're not to this yet. So that's interesting. Yeah, Tsubaki, this is not, like, compare this to, like, watch this. So Red Hat, Rel 7 life cycle. Like, you want to see Rel life cycles, it's like they drop you right in like this. Hold on. Nope. Here's their enterprise life cycle, and they have a really good chart typically right here. They tell you exactly what the life cycle looks like. 5 years, 5 years. So 5 years full support, 5 years maintenance, so you can keep running it. And then there's an extended life phase, and then you could pay a little more out here sometimes. But they allow it to cancel any time after this. They tell you that they can stop if they want. But this is this, and then they have a really good. Yep, here's Rel 8. So where's Rel 8 at? Like if you're an organization that doesn't like to be bleeding edge, you're pretty safe on Rel 8, but you're also nearing being on 810 and then taking 810 out to like maybe 2029. Rel 9, similar, except you're just a year further out. So you're going to be upgrading 9 a few times on minor versions and then going out to the end of its 10-year cycle, right? Boom. So, I mean, yeah, like what do you want to do? Extended maintenance, you could pay them more for and all that stuff. But yeah, I like these. These are the ones that I'm used to looking at because I'm familiar with Red Hat. Let's see what SLES is. Let's look at their release or their product support life cycle. So they've got a bunch of different types of things. And let's see if we can just find SUSE Enterprise. There's desktop stuff, so if you're doing desktop, and then high availability, we should have just Linux Enterprise server. So if I was looking at this one, right, Linux Enterprise server 15, and general is going to end there. Let's see, hold on, SP510. Releases, that ends, general ends, and then long-term support ends in 2034, and then the core ends in 2037. So you could technically build some of this out on this and have it for the next, 13 years from now if you really wanted to. So anyways, that's something to go and spend time with if that's something that works for you in an organization or something that you want to build into and get deeper in on. This is how we go find things out, and then we would copy down what we needed out of that, and we would build a plan around it, and we would build our release cycle and our build cycles and all that around those different things, maybe major and minor releases, and then we would do our security patching and our other things around that. So that's all very kind of important. And it's funny, every time I turn around, somebody's like, security patching's completely dead in the enterprise, and I'm like, well, except it's not, because literally everybody still does it. And then it's like, well, but there's no reason because we should do all these other things. And it's like, yeah, but people have kind of accepted the model that they've accepted, and that's kind of where we're at. It would be like if somebody came out and was like, well, I could put this fifth wheel on a car, and this fifth wheel would make the car so much better at stopping and so much better at turning. And you're like, we're pretty okay with four wheels for the most part. And they're like, well, don't you want the stability and the traction? You're like, if I wanted that, I'd go buy a motorcycle, or whatever. But my point is, I don't think the industry would change over a minor good idea. It tends to be like you have to have a really good idea, like something we call that creates what's called a paradigm shift, right, in how the industry works. There's a few of those that have happened over time that are pretty interesting. One that's interesting to go look up is like the quartz watches. When quartz was found, that when you check the vibrations of quartz, if you hit it with a laser or any type of vibrations hit it, quartz oscillates at an exact frequency all the time, right? And they found that out, and they go, wow, we could use this to time more precisely than a main spring inside of a watch. I mean, spring has to be wound, and then you have to trust time, and when that happened, it was funny. You can go look this up. They had this big Swiss watchmaking. So it was in Switzerland, right? And they had a big watchmaking thing that happened every year, like a big convention. And the first year that somebody showed up, some company that was building quartz watches, they were laughed out of there because the only organizations that were there were like, well, where's the big main spring? Like there's a spring that needs to be in the middle of this for this watch to work. And 2 years later, 90% of the companies that showed up to that thing were making watches with that technology, and the other companies that weren't there didn't exist anymore. So that's what we call a paradigm shift in the industry, right? You can go look that up. Go look up the impact quartz had on the watch industry. It's a really interesting kind of read, and you can find good blog posts on it and stuff. I remember studying it in college, one of my master's programs. But yeah, you're always watching for how things shift in the industry, how we look at things differently, and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. We probably should let's find somebody to raid so I can get off of here. But you guys are welcome to hang out in our Discord. There's always things that are down there that are going on that I think are interesting or useful to you guys. Again, if this stuff's useful to you, feel free to follow. I don't try to force anybody to do anything. If you have some other favorite streamer, please watch them. But if this is fun and useful to you, then hang out with me. I don't stream every day. I normally stream at night, but this is kind of us just hanging out. Let's see who I'm following that's on. Let's go hit up... Oh, Sid's on. I'll hit up Sid. Sid's on. We can always hit up Sid. He's always doing useful stuff. Oh, Bother is on. No, we'll go hit up... The closest guy to probably doing what we're doing is Sid, although Sid is definitely doing some kind of sciencey stuff. So we'll go raid him. Raid message is just something like do all the Linux. So I appreciate you guys coming by. I will catch up with some of you guys later on during the week, and I'll always be down in the Discord kind of hanging out and stuff. So let me know if you guys need anything. Let me know if you're working on the Linux course and if you get stuck on anything too. That's really important. So, all right. Take care, everybody. I will see you guys later.